Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Variance powered by FantasyPedia. FantasyPedia is the one-stop shop for everything related to FPL. Whether it's captaincy, transfer suggestions, or daily price changes, FantasyPedia helps FPL managers make optimal decisions for their Fantasy Premier League teams. Make sure to follow FantasyPedia on Twitter to keep up to date. And we're back. Another episode, another game week. And I am Zishan, your co-host, and I'm joined with Manan and Anshuman. How's it going, guys? Let's start with you, Manan.
It's been good. I think last game week was really nice. Scored 59 points. I had two hat-trick heroes. One was Haaland. No, not hat-trick hero. I had one hat-trick hero, which was Tony. It just seems like Haaland is scoring hat-trick every week now. I think he's just amazing. I captained him. I scored 59 points. Got a rank rise of around 500k. Really happy about my last game week. How about you, Anshuman?
Yeah, I mean, a decent game week overall. I was with the template, and the template did not work clearly. Didn't have Tony, capped Haaland, but not a lot of rank gain. Almost everyone capped him, so poor game week around 45 points. So nothing much to add there.
Yes, similar story. I had Kane captain, scored a goal, got 3 bonus. The painful thing was I left Rashford on my bench. I expected a tight game, so he ended up getting 18 points. In hindsight, it looks like a really bad mistake, but I'm happy that I at least have him, and a lot of people are transferring him for the future game weeks. But yeah, just about an average game week overall. Uh, let's move on and let's discuss some of today's agendas. So we've got some hot topics to discuss, and the hottest topic in the FPL community right now is Mohamed Salah. And yeah, people are talking about whether or not Salah is worth the premium price tag. More Salah or no Salah? Let's start with you, Anshuman. What are your thoughts?
Um, I mean, it's a tricky situation for me, especially where the game week 9 wildcard situation is approaching. Could be game week 8 as well. We'll discuss that further in the pod, but I am firmly in the no Salah camp at the moment. I don't see anything which which suggests that I should go Salah. Uh,
Yep.
a bigger reason is basically because I'm not comfortable captaining him. And if you're not captaining a 13 million player, again, if the logic applies for other players like Son, Kevin De Bruyne, Kane, the same logic should be applying to Salah as well. And if I'm not going to captain him in the upcoming fixtures, it's okay to go without him for the set of 5-6 fixture games when he has tough games, and then probably I can look at getting him back for the good fixtures.
That's fair. I mean, we're looking at Salah's data over here, and this obviously a downwards trend. Manan, do you think it's just a form thing, or do you think Salah as a player he has regressed this season based on a number of factors?
I don't think he has regressed as much as I think it's something to do with tactical. I think Klopp has assigned him a bit wider role and a bit creative role. If we see the chances created by Liverpool this season, they have created most chances from their right side. In previous years, we used to see they used to create a lot from the left side and with those diagonal passes, and Salah used to be at the end of those chances. Now what's happening is Salah is creating all the chances. As you can see, his chances created per 90 is 4, which is just massive, and his shots on target it's just less of even 1. We don't usually see this sort of stats from Mo Salah. So I think he's playing a bit wide and also with respect to Trent and not being in a form. And I think Diaz is a better option, and at a better price he's outperforming Salah in every attacking matrix. So I think I would also go without Salah. I think that 13 million price tag doesn't justify going with him.
And this is not justifiable at the moment, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, it can be like if, in the next upcoming game weeks. But currently, I think if you have to make that decision, there are a lot of cons against Salah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're sort of even personally. I played my wildcard 3 weeks back, and I opted to go without Salah. And I think there are very obvious glaring issues. A lot of people who are in the Mo Salah camp sort of say that this is, Salah's heat map is nothing different from last season. So yes, heat map does tell a story. But what's interesting is this season, every time Salah's in the box, they are not able to find him. I think he had that chemistry with Mane in the past. that we saw last season. Mane used to play on the left wing or even center forward. They had that understanding where Mane used to find Salah, or he used to create that space that used to benefit Salah. So I think Mane's departure has really hurt Salah, and it's also affected Liverpool as a unit. And it's very evident in the underlying data, not just going forward, but defensively as well. Liverpool in general are looking at a bit of a shaky unit right now. So yeah, even I am in the no Salah camp, and I think it's not just to do with the fact that he's really wide. I think they are not really functioning well as a unit. It may get fixed in the future game weeks. Klopp he's a talented manager, right? In the next 4 or 5 game weeks, things might change. But the good thing is that the next 4 or 5 fixtures are not the best. They're a bit tricky fixtures, so we can wait and watch. Salah, I think, is an easy sell as things stand. Maybe given the Wolves game, but yeah, after that, it's definitely I'm firmly in the no Salah camp as well, alongside you
So
guys.
I'll give you certain like important keynotes that you should be noting in terms of people who want to keep Salah. One, look at how fit their midfield is. If Thiago is back, if they have Henderson is out for like 5 weeks, I think he's not available. Fabinho is fit or not. Those players, how Elliot is playing, how Trent is playing, those players around him will certainly make a difference. At the moment, I think Thiago being out is one of the major concerns for that Liverpool attack. Secondly, if you look at the matrix, we've done this pre-AFCON, post-AFCON, because last season this was a big thing that he dropped in terms of form after AFCON, and we've taken that as a matrix in comparison to the first 6 games. And you can see there is certain, in terms of direct goal threat, when I'm talking goal threat, it has been a drop. It's almost a 50% drop. But in terms of chances creation, it's more higher. He's almost doubled his chances created. He's doubled his XA, and that's there. So he's doubled his XA post AFCON. He's almost maintaining it right now. But in terms of creating more chances, is there. In terms of direct shots inside the box, in terms of direct goals, in goal involvement, he's not there. Which is, and ultimately what I feel is it's the fact that you can't captain him. So if you're not comfortable and not very sure, again, this game week, if you talk about captaincy, how many of you are comfortable captaining Salah? I don't think majority of us are comfortable at the moment still, because he's been blanking. He had a 0 XG against one of the teams 2 game weeks ago, which is something very bizarre. I think it was Newcastle. You don't want that from your 13 million player, and that is why we think it's a sell, and not because, yes, there's always the argument, oh, he's Salah and he can always get one penalty, he can score 10 points out of that penalty and he'll do well. But again, can you consistently captain him? Do you think he's giving you points consistently? If not, then I think there's a case to be made where he can be sold for the next 6 games and then think about it again.
Where do we go for our viewers watching? I think a lot of people will have this question that if you're going no Salah, where do you go? Would you guys switch him out for another premium, or do you downgrade him to an 8 or someone like a Rashford or a 6-7 million midfielder, and you keep that cash and assess in the future game weeks?
I think,
yeah,
man, go ahead.
I think I would hold Salah for this week. I think Thiago being back, Jota and Firmino all fit. I think we could see a better attacking football from Liverpool this week, maybe. But going forward, they have Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal, City. I don't see these as good fixtures. They are all solid, good defensive teams. I think if you have to ship Salah out, I think game week 8 is the game week where you should do it. And I think there's certain Son who has Leicester, or maybe Kane if you are open to switching your formation, and maybe if you're wildcarding in game week 9 or something. Okay, so I think Kane, Son, or KDB, even KDB is just sticking along with points. He's assisting, maybe scoring once in a while, and I think those are the two guys where you can go if you have to go for premiums.
Well, yeah, I think that's a fair point. Yes, Anshuman.
Yeah, in terms of me removing Salah, I'm looking at spreading the funds, getting a 3 forward situation. Yes, that's direct. I think Darwin could be the guy. I know there's could be rotation in Firmino and Jota, but I think still Darwin is the main man. I think if he starts, he would get more goal involvements. I think that is where you could spread your funds. And then get an 8 million midfielder. You can probably even get someone like a Bruno who's looking decent. Sterling has a great run of fixtures coming up from game week 9 to 16, so that could be an option. And obviously, Kevin De Bruyne is there. I'm slightly hesitant in terms of getting Son. I know he could do well, and I think he will personally do well against City and Leicester. But again, he's not ticking yet as of now. He obviously can be an option later on, but as of now, I don't see him as a replace as a Salah replacement option.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if you own Salah right now, these are a bit worrying times. If you are a Liverpool fan, again, this is really worrying. But the community also has another worry, and there's a constant discussion about the wild card being played in one of the future game weeks. So we are going to look at that, and we've got the fixture ticker up here. We'll discuss some of the wild card strategies, look at the pros and cons of when you could play the wild card. So obviously, a lot of people are very keen on a game week 8 or a game week 9 wild card, but there could also be pros if you, let's say, play it in game week 7. So we will have a look at that. Anshuman, can you throw some light on the wild card discussion?
I mean, so there are two popular cases that are coming up now due to the Brighton Crystal Palace game being postponed. So it's either game week 8 or game week 9, which was initially as targeted as the wildcard game week. So we'll tackle it game week or game week. I think for me personally, I don't think 7 is is a wildcard necessary game week because most people have a triple. Liverpool who play Wolves is a decent fixture. Again, City can obviously score against Tottenham, so having Haaland is not a bad thing. Brighton double up if people have that. They have Bournemouth. Newcastle have a decent fixture against West Ham. So majority, even Chelsea have Fulham. So majority of the popular teams have decent fixtures this game week, which makes rules it out in terms of wildcarding, unless you have injuries, obviously. So personally, if you guys want to add something in 7, we can. But I think personally, it's a skip for me.
Manan, do you see any pros in or game week 7 wildcard?
No, I don't. And I actually also think with the whole Potter Brighton Chelsea situation, I think that is also one thing you have to monitor. And I think game week 8 or either wildcarding game week 9 give us those. We'll get a chance to see the team under those managers, and if Potter is appointed as Chelsea manager or another manager comes in for Brighton. So I think game week 7 is not for me. I think Arsenal also everyone owns Arsenal players also, and they have a good
Yeah.
Everton fixture. And I don't think you would want to get rid of Arsenal assets before Everton. So I think game week 8 or 9 is a better game week to wildcard.
Yeah, and
Yes, Anshuman.
yeah, it's easy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to know. So I think the thinking here is that game week 8 and 9 is the perfect time to play a wild card. So which teams would you target in terms of not fixtures but fill up? Are you looking at a team like Newcastle who are posting some really good underlying data? Pope has been talked about a lot. Which are the teams that you're looking to pile on your wild card?
Before I address that, game week 12 and 13 are also popular game weeks where people want to wildcard because that is where all the big teams have start having good fixtures. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, they're back with good fixtures ahead till 16. But personally, I don't think that's a good game week to wildcard solely because it leaves you only with 3 game weeks of your wildcard to come effective and give you a lot of points. It could work out well if you have a good base team right now and you're okay with holding it till then, and then it could act up like a 3 game week punt in terms of banking on the big teams and then those people getting points. But personally, I'm more inclined to 8 and 9. Again, teams to target. Yeah, Newcastle is there. I think Fulham is there. Chelsea are still on the top, which is a potential target team. I think these 3 stand out, but others will have. Like City is an obvious team, but I'm not very keen on certain teams like Arsenal, Liverpool.
Okay. Um, okay, talking about Arsenal, Liverpool, and they don't have great fixtures. Let's talk about Arsenal in particular because I know they've got a mixed bag, but their performances so far, right? They've been getting the points, but the underlying data also has been really good. So someone like Jesus, okay, let's say Arsenal don't get the optimal result in terms of Premier League, not FPL, but I think there's still a very good chance that Jesus continues to be on the score sheet. So if the game ends like a 2-2 or a 3-2, I think there's a very good chance that Jesus could keep ticking along because I'm looking at his numbers and his numbers are right up there. So are you guys comfortable taking someone like Jesus out once his fixtures are not that great? Uh, Manan, right? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm definitely comfortable. I think from game week 9 to 12, I think there were terrible run of fixtures where there Tottenham, Liverpool, Leeds, and Man City. And it's also about the replacements who we can replace Jesus with. I think Isaac, Mitrovic, Tony, I think they all have, even Brennan Johnson, if someone wants to go there for a cheap forward, I think they all have really good fixtures, upcoming fixtures. And I think I'll like. And also the thing is with Arsenal, there's a big goal spread. There's Saka, there's Martinelli, there's Odegaard, and I feel like all the three players I mentioned, Isaac, Mitrovic, Tony, they are all talisman. I think they should be all on penalties. I don't know about Isaac, but I think those are a bit better options than Gabriel Jesus with those fixtures.
Well, we'll definitely talk about the forwards in detail later. So, yes, Anshuman.
No, I mean, let's just dive into the question. I think we know that there are teams to target, which is Newcastle. You can double up on their defense. I think Pope, Trippier make a good case. But when it comes to game week 8 or 9, which game week are you preferring wildcard? Should we go about it like game week first? We talk about game week 8 and then 9.
Sure.
Okay, so game week 8 probably. I'm not sure if you guys are interested, but I am looking at game week 8 as a wildcard game week for my team, and there are certain pros to it because you can remove the Liverpool Chelsea assets, you can remove your Brighton assets. There is one downside: might have to remove Jesus for a striker, but you can get Isaac playing Bournemouth, and you can get Mitrovic playing Nottingham Forest alongside Haaland. So there is enough upside. You can take punts in terms of Tottenham against Leicester. And I look at game week 8, it looks like a good wildcard. Plus, you get enough time for the price rises and them to come into function as well. So your team value increases as well. The downside to that wildcard, in my opinion, is if on your wildcard you're still going to get players like James, Fofana, Trent, maybe a Liverpool midfielder, the essence of the wildcard diminishes. Then you're losing on 2 weeks of information. Because if you're still going to get such players, the other structure can be managed for another week, maybe with a -4 if you have 2 free transfers you can hold and then do that. And then those 2 weeks of information and injury news is much more valuable in terms of FPL outcome, because certainly something like a Wilson will be back by then. So will Isaac be starting? If he's starting, where will be starting? So those certain nuances are very important. Otherwise, I think 8 or 9. I don't think there's going to be huge difference in our teams in 8 and 9, but I think information is key.
Yes, information will be key. I think that's one of the reasons why I've looked at this fixture ticker, and despite being someone who's already used his wildcard, I think if I were to play my wildcard, I would probably hold it and not use it in game week 8 or 9 as well, and try to hold it as long as possible, maybe around 11 or 12, purely down to the fact that someone like Jesus and Haaland, these are the players who form the core of your team. And these are really consistent assets. So I have the confidence that they will definitely keep ticking along. Also, the fact, that Anshuman spoke about, there are some external factors. So we did not expect Thomas Tuchel to get sacked, but suddenly he's out of the picture, and we don't know what Chelsea would be like. If, let's say they appoint Potter, the dynamics might change. Maybe Reece James and Chilwell suddenly become great options. Leicester is another team who probably have reasonable fixtures, but right now they're pretty rubbish. Let's say they sack Rodgers and they get someone in who turns it around. So you don't really want to play your wildcard in game week 8 and 9, and then you're stuck with it for the next 6 or 7 weeks till we approach the World Cup. So yes, I agree with a lot of the thoughts. I can see why the community favors a game week 8 or a game week 9 wildcard, but I would proceed with caution because there are so many nuances and so many external factors that could affect our teams going forward.
But see, don't you think if you're wildcarding, let's say 12, maybe not 13, then becomes ideal in terms of fixture turning point. But then again, you only get 13, 14, 15, and 16 in terms of gaining out of your wildcard. Also, these small teams which are ticking right now, I think they're providing much more value. You can, and the players are in much more form, so you can like jump on them and then jump off later as well. Do you think that should be that should be included in our thoughts, because like, ultimately you are getting 3 wildcards this season essentially. So do you want to hold the first wildcard till that point and too late?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it purely comes down to how confident are you with the likes of Jesus and Haaland. If you believe that they, like someone like Jesus, won't keep ticking along, I understand, the thought process behind playing a wild card. But I'm pretty confident that he will keep taking the points. And even if he does not, right, I think it's a very easy switch. And luckily this year, I think we are blessed with some amazing forward options. I keep saying that we will talk about them in detail, but just one move away. Also, the fact that we've discussed no Salah, right? If you're looking to move on Salah, and let's say if you take him out this week, you downgrade him to a 6, 7, 8 million midfielder. You've got so much of cash which you can invest upfront. So I think that downgrading of Salah itself will give you the flexibility to make a lot of moves and still keep your wildcard in the pocket. But having said that, I think there are a lot of pros and there's a reason why the wildcard 8 and 9 is a community favorite, right? It's almost sort of template-ish, and everyone is talking about it. And I won't be surprised if almost 80% of the FPL community play their wildcard in game week 8 or 9.
I think the wildcard it is also so much in the community because everyone owns at least two Brighton assets, and because
Yeah.
of their game being called off against Crystal Palace, I think that's a very important point. Also, Liverpool face Chelsea. Liverpool is not in form. I don't know how many people will have like more than one, maybe just Trent on their wildcard. So that's also a big factor. And if you combine two of Liverpool, let's say Arsenal and Brighton assets, I think that's a good reason to wildcard it. It totals of like 6 players who don't have
Yeah.
good fixture. So I think that's. But another con to wildcarding in game week 8 is the next game we have the international break, and we know
Yeah.
how international break is. There can be a lot of injuries. We'll get a lot of players who are fatigued, and a lot of various factors depend on the international break. And so that's a thing that does worry me a bit.
I think that's a very fair point, and for that very instance, despite the fact that I'm not keen about game week 8 or 9 wildcard, but if I were to play it in one of these weeks, I'd prefer maybe game week 9 purely because of the international break factor, right? I'd be very comfortable if I knew that all the players in my team are coming back from national duty. They are fit and available, so that I could have them next 8 weeks. Unforeseen injuries might happen in Premier League games as well, but that international break window, I think I'd rather avoid that anxiety, and I'd be more comfortable playing it in game week 9 compared to game week 8.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think I'm not. It depends. I think for me, it's basically, do you want a lot of Liverpool assets on your wild card? If the answer, because Brighton have a tricky run of fixtures, they face Liverpool, Tottenham, then Brentford. I think Crystal is fine. Crystal is postponed. Sorry. So there's postponement Liverpool, Tottenham. Then I have Brentford, Nottingham Forest, and then they face, I think, City and Chelsea. So are you going to double up or triple up on Brighton? Most likely not. If you're wildcarding 8 to 9 irrespectively, I think you'll have Mitrovic. You probably will have a double Newcastle. You'll probably try to double up on Chelsea if you can in terms of defense. If they sign a defensively good manager, probably Potter. So that's there, and Haaland is there. He's sticking. Jesus or maybe Martinelli looks like a glue guy. So one of the Arsenal assets. So in terms of team, it is not a lot of difference. I think the only major question you need to ask yourself is how many Liverpool players do you see on your wildcard team, and that will help you decide whether you want whether you want to wildcard in 8 or 9.
I think there are more added advantages for wildcarding in game week 9. As you can see, Arsenal has two good fixtures, Everton,
Yeah.
Brentford. You can punt. Before a wildcard, we always look to punt on certain players who have one or two good fixtures, uh, and even an international break is a very good point to. It's always a good
Yeah.
factor to wildcard after international break, and even Manchester United. I mean, we all have been surprised by Manchester United and their performances. So I think a player like Sancho and Rashford could also be a good 2 week punt to punt on, and similarly Chelsea's fixtures also turn for better after game week 9, and it also gives us 2 good weeks to analyze those Chelsea assets. So I think even if I have to wildcard, I'd prefer game week 9 over game week 8.
I'm on the fence. I really think it depends on
Of
how
course,
many
of course.
Liverpool assets you want, and
Yeah,
that's the boat I'm in as well at the moment.
and I think it's fair why people are not 100% sure, because the teams that are not really doing well, for example Liverpool, and let's have a look at the XG conceded data, and we got the teams up here, right? And your usual suspects, Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, they're right up there in terms of defensive numbers. So yes, they probably aren't keeping a lot of clean sheets, but if you look at the underlying data and if you stick with it, I think the clean sheets will definitely come. So there's also the risk of moving on some of these players, and then suddenly variance playing a part, and City are suddenly keeping back-to-back clean sheets, and Tottenham, Liverpool, maybe they don't have great fixtures, but purely the fact that they've ended up conceding more goals than they should have. It could be a funny instance where you take them out and suddenly they are keeping the clean sheets. And someone like Trent, right? One assist, he's getting a 12 pointer because he's so good with bonus points as well. Any takeaways from the XG conceded table for you guys? Anshuman, uh, anything that stands out?
I think
I
I'll
know
I'll let
NFO
you.
are rubbish.
Yeah,
I keep
I'll
talking
let
about
you talk
them.
about NFO first. I think you are very eager to talk about NFO and how rubbish they are. So you go ahead, talk about NFO first, or Nottingham
Yeah,
Forest. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's reached a point where I look at this table every week, and a lot of people have a soft spot for NFO. Even I did. They did really well, last season in Championship. They're a brave team, right? They try to attack everyone, and I feel that's a bit naive because when you come to the Premier League, you need to be a bit mature in terms of getting results. And the fact that they're so brave is good news for us FPL managers. I'll be very confident even captaining a player, an attacker that plays Nottingham Forest. So, you look at these numbers. 13.3 data at this point in the season is really bad. They've conceded 16 big chances. So yeah, there are these elite defenses. We can talk about them all day, but NFO are a team that I would love targeting every week, and I think they're relegation fodder. But yeah, let's not talk about that purely from an FPL point of view. I think they are a god's gift, really. Uh, just I can talk about them all day, but yeah, Anshuman, let's talk about something else. Anything that stands out to you from
Uh,
this table?
Two things that stand out. I think a lot of people estimate that Crystal Palace are really good defensively, just out of how Vieira is playing. But I think if you look at the big chances conceded, they're bottom in terms of big chances conceded. They've conceded 20 big chances, about more than three per game. And also their XGC conceded is not that great, the fourth bottom on that as well. So that's something to factor in. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, Crystal Palace could be a tough game for United. Probably they don't want to punt on United assets. I think it's not that bad if you look at it from a statistical point of view, it's not that bad. Crystal are conceding chances. The second thing is Everton. So Pickford is out for about 3-4 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
They have improved defensively, but I think Pickford was a huge part of it. And now that Pickford is out, it has to be factored in. So uh, I mean, it could be the difference between Jesus being a captaincy option this week and not being if Pickford was fit. That's the variance there, I think. So that needs to be factored in as well. Apart from that, it's pretty much obvious in terms of defensive data. I don't think anyone stands out. Chelsea again, they have decent XGC conceded, but again, look at the big chances; they're really bad.
They definitely are. Manan, any standouts for you from this?
I think Tottenham conceding just four big chances. I was surprised to see that. They have not looked. I know they have not looked good while attacking, but they have been solid in defense. But certain player like Perisic was an appeal of going forward and looking at this just four big chances conceded. I think that is appealing to me. Also, I would like to point out Newcastle. I think it shows they have conceded 13 right 13 big chances, right? But generally what they do is in the last 2-3 game weeks they are just considering low level chances and not that big chances, which is good for a goalkeeper like Pope, who likes to make a lot of saves and everything. And with their fixtures turning, and they have just a great run of fixtures, so I think Newcastle is someone I'm really keeping my tabs on.
Yeah, that's a great shout and a very good point about Newcastle. In fact, the very last game they faced Crystal Palace, and Pope got 12 points in that game. And someone would look at the statistics and go like, "Oh, okay, they conceded 9 shots on target. That's quite bad." Actually, it's not that bad because it's a tactic. They allow those, like you mentioned, low XG shots, and they did not concede a single big chance in that game. So that's really good news for Pope. It's also great news for Trippier. So Trippier is fairly popular, but I think subconsciously we look at him as a 5 million defender, right? With the value that he's offering, with Newcastle being solid defensively, with a keeper like Pope, and the amount of crosses that he puts inside from open play, from set pieces, I think he's an underpriced asset. He's easily a 6 or 6.5 million defender in my opinion. And if you still don't own him, I'll probably look at a way to bring Pope and Trippier in, because one Newcastle defender is fine. A lot of people will have it. You add it up, and suddenly it becomes a sword. One is a shield, two is a sword. So that is one thing that I am looking at for my team as well. Perisic again stands out for me. I took him out last week. I have regrets. I want to sort of bring him back because he's got great underlying data. And the fact that Conte manages Tottenham, just 4 big chances conceded is ridiculous. These are really elite numbers. So yeah, once the City game is out of the way, I'll probably look at a way to bring Trippier in as well in the long term.
I think double up on Newcastle defense is something which I'll definitely do if I'm considering a wild card. I think Pope and Trippier will be the first names on my team.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely second that. Newcastle, definitely one of the double ups that you want to consider on wildcard.
Definitely. And speaking of Newcastle, right? Everyone's talking about Isaac as well, and that will take us to our next hot topic. We're looking at the forwards comparison, and someone on Twitter the other day said that this is the year of the forwards because everyone started with just 2 up front, but now everyone is scrambling and trying to figure out a way to have 3 forwards in their team. And it's such a shame that we cannot have more than 3 because we are blessed with excellent options. Obviously, Haaland picks himself, but we're looking at 4 outstanding forwards here. We're looking at Gabriel Jesus, Alexander Mitrovic, Ivan Toney, and Isaac. Which of these forwards stand out for you, and which one of these are you looking to have in your team very soon? Again, let's start with you, Anshuman.
Mitrovic. It has to be Mitrovic, dude. He's probably nailed on in terms of in my team, or it should be in anyone's wildcard team, dude. His good fixtures coming up. Fulham are third on the ticket from 9 to 16. So the fixtures are there. If you look at his stats, he's getting big chance involvements. He's outperformed all of them. I think Isaac, you need to take it with a pinch of salt because he's played only 2 games. I think so. That's the data is obviously skewed there. But Mitrovic has proven he's on penalties. Fulham look like a team who want to attack. They've figured out how to attack. He's performing against the big teams as well. It has to be Mitrovic. I just can't. I can keep on saying Mitrovic for the entire part, but if there's anyone who you need to have on your wildcard draft or need to get in as soon as possible, I think it's Mitrovic.
That's great. Would you be comfortable, let's say if you're not playing a wild card and you've got Gabriel Jesus and you're happy with your other 2 forwards, assuming one of them is Haaland and the other one is, let's say, a Tony or a Jesus, would you be comfortable, let's say, downgrading a Jesus to a Mitrovic on a
Game
free
week
transfer?
8? Yeah, game week 8, yes. Because I think Mitrovic will provide a similar value for a lesser price. He's providing the points, he's getting the goals. And it's not like... And he's probably the talisman factor. Yes, if Fulham score, he's involved. So that's what I want from my forward. That's what I want from my player. And he's delivering that. And he's cheaper than Jesus. So I can upgrade somewhere else in terms of midfield or some other player in defense.
Yes, a big fan of Mitrovic myself. Manan, are you in the Mitrovic camp as well, or you've got you're Isaac or a Tony camp?
No. Regarding your question, I already have Haaland and Evan Tony, right? So this is the move that I myself was eyeing up. Was Gabriel Jesus to Mitrovic in game week 8. I think for me, Tony and Haaland are a hold just because I have them already, and I already have those 3 striker slots, which I'm really happy about. I made that change in game week 3, but I think Mitrovic is just, I think he's a must-have alongside Haaland on the wildcards. As game week 8 and game week 9 wildcard won't have like too many different players. So I think Mitrovic is someone who I'm currently really eyeing myself, and he's also on penalties. He has won the most aerial duels among all players. I think he's 15 ahead of the second place. I think everything screams Mitrovic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this really feels. I think this is a Mitrovic fan club because I've been a big fan of Mitrovic as well all these years, and he's just. I keep watching the games. I keep looking at the numbers. Mitrovic is right up there. Uh, at that price, it feels like he's underpriced, right? He should be an 8.59 million forward, in my opinion. With the numbers, again, this feels like a gift from the FPL gods, and I think we should just say thank you and just bring him in. Forget about it.
I
For the
won't go
foreseeable.
as far as 8.59 million striker, because you have to also remember he plays for a Fulham. Okay, so I don't think he's a 8.59 million, but
One.
he cert. he certainly has been amazing throughout, and we also have to consider that his game week 1 to game week 6 fixtures were really difficult, and his fixtures are turning for good. And I think that's also a factor which just screams goals. I mean, all that game week 8 fixtures against Nottingham Forest, I think he can score more than 3 goals in that particular fixture, just the way Nottingham Forest plays. So I think Mitrovic is a certain must have alongside Haaland.
Yeah, I mean, understand the emotion there. I think 9 million is just
Yeah.
conveys how emotional we are regarding Mitrovic and how much we want you guys to buy him. And we think generally he's a good option. I think, given the fixtures, given the stats, he's probably
would you guys not buy
a
him at
sensible
9
option.
million? Would you guys not buy him at 9 million?
The fact that he plays, the fact that he plays for Fulham, and I mean, if he's scoring game week in and out, I wouldn't mind actually.
Yeah.
The fact that if he's performing at that level, I wouldn't mind. But yeah, it would be a hesitant move. I think just because the fact that he's around 6.57, he's an easy buy. If it was 8.59, then it would be like I would think about it. Or maybe do I want him? Is there a better option or not? Which where we come to Tony probably. If he's 9 and Tony is 7, then Tony becomes an option immediately.
Yeah, it's more about value. And I'll go one step ahead, and I'll also say he's a good captaincy option in game week 8 also, as you'll see. I mean, if you don't have a certain Harry Kane or a Son from Tottenham, I don't see any standout. I think we are all in the camp of Perma Haaland captain. If right, so,
We're all it's reached a point where going against Haaland, because he's just I saw the game against Sevilla, right? And I thought, okay, maybe like one goal and he'll be taken off, but he played 70 minutes. He scored 2 and he could have scored more. And he's not just overperforming. City are creating the chances and they're all falling to Haaland. So it's a joke right now. I think it's very scary. Even as someone who likes to punt on differential captains, I'm very scared right now. I think I'm just gonna captain Haaland for the foreseeable future. I don't know what you guys.
Just captain him. You get points irrespectively,
Yeah.
and then you figure out what to do with the other 10 players.
Yeah, so that's the exact question I was coming to next. Who would be the third forward pick for you guys on your wildcard if you are wildcard? Other than Mitrovic and Haaland, of course.
As I said, if I'm wildcarding in 9, I'll have more information about Isaac. If I'm wildcarding in 8, I think I will go Isaac. But otherwise, it could be Tony. Gabriel would be third on my list. I think the budget forwards have better value in them. So that's my preference. I think if you're asking about Jesus, I wouldn't be going Jesus on my wildcard.
Wow. So no, he's I think I'm very keen on Mitrovic. Obviously, Haaland picks himself. I like Jesus, but there's Kane as well. It's just the fact that I went no Salah on my wildcard, so I've got a lot of cash to spare, and I've already got a double up of Haaland and Kane right now. So yeah, Mitrovic is definitely coming in next game week maybe, but I'm keeping an open mind for that third spot. I will get Mitrovic in. I might downgrade Kane this week. I don't have any other fires to put out in my team, so I'm open to that. Maybe next week I keep Jesus, or maybe I get Kane in because he's playing Leicester. So I've got that luxury because I've already got 3 strikers up front right now.
But what would be your preferred 3 striker? Let's just wrap it up. I think in terms of quickly between Tony, Mitrovic, and Isaac, which is I think Mitrovic stands out. Who would be your second choice?
I think I'll stick with Gabriel Jesus.
Still, you wouldn't go there. You wouldn't go to the cheaper ones.
I won't. I think it's down to the fact that I think Tony has really done well, but even the hat-trick he scored the other day, the NPXG was really low. It helps the fact that he's definitely on penalties, scored a great free kick, scored a very low XG goal. The points are in. I think if you've owned Tony so far, you should say thank you to the points. And I think in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think you should ship him out because the points I'm very confident will dry up. I hope not, for the sake of Tony owners. I don't see this sort of the trend. I don't see it lasting. No.
I certainly not agree with you because, as I pointed out, Brentford have scored around 36 odd goals in their last 17 matches. They're playing like last season Leeds, where they are really gung ho and they are just attacking. And I think of those 36 goals, I think Tony scored 11 or 12. And I can definitely see them scoring in every fixture especially for the next 3. I think Southampton, Arsenal, and Bournemouth are really good fixtures for Ivan Toney. After that, I can see why you would not want to have Tony, but yeah, I think Tony is also a good shout if you're wildcarding in game week, and it can be a 2 week punt or punt or something. But yeah, I mean, I certainly like Tony, and that's why I have him.
So in
I mean,
isolation, if you're looking at someone, if you're recommending forwards, if you had to buy someone this week or next week, two forwards, who would you recommend? Tony or Mitrovic or Isaac? I think let's leave out Mitrovic between Isaac and Tony. Both of
It
you
would
guys
be
on Tony?
it would be Tony for me. Yeah.
I don't like Tony or Isaac, to be honest. I don't. The fact I think Isaac is a good pick in isolation, but am I comfortable owning three Newcastle players? I say three because we spoke about Pope and Trippier, and
Yeah.
I think that's a great double up. Three might be a bit too much, so purely keeping that in mind, I would not go to Isaac. And I don't think Tony's returns are sustainable, so I don't like him as an option. So I'd probably go for Mitrovic, and I like Jesus, but if you don't give me an option to pick him, I would just stick with Mitrovic probably out
So
of these four.
So there are two things I would like to point out. One, a lot of people want Tony this weekend after his haul, obviously. Uh, yes, he can score against Southampton, but Southampton have tightened the defense. They've only conceded one goal wherever they lost. The other factor is B's factor in that their pitch is horrible. It's not a smooth pitch to play on, and it's just too horrible. You can't counterattack smoothly. The ball stops. It doesn't flow. That's a factor that I have in my consideration. So if you're taking a punt or you want Tony this week for a 1 week punt, I'm not so confident that he'll score. He could obviously get the penalty and everything, but in terms of open play, it looks like slightly dicey. Second thing, a lot of people were saying that Brentford's away form this season hasn't been good, but they're second on big chances in terms of all away games they've played this season, and they look decent. So the next Arsenal I think is home, but the other three fixtures are away from home, which makes a slightly better case for Tony. And in terms of Isaac, again, I said the fact that Wilson will be back from injury in game week 9 post the international break is somewhat a worry for me. So if I had to pick three, it would be Tony, Mitrovic, and Haaland. I wouldn't go Jesus on my wildcard. Specifically, if I have Jesus, I wouldn't sell him this week either.
What
Yeah,
about I would want to sorry if I would want to ask,
yeah.
what about a player like Solanke, who has also had a good fixture: Brentford, Leicester, Fulham, Southampton from game week
I
9.
mean, let him perform first. Let him get points. I mean, these
Hmm.
are proven players who are getting points. It's as simple as that.
Okay,
I
true.
I think yeah. I think in terms of predicted models, Solanke is up there, but yeah, he plays for Bournemouth. I'm not even looking at him. If they start performing at, let's say, Fulham's
Yeah.
level, because Fulham despite being a promoted side, they're really promising. Yes, they will ship goals. They may not get positive results. They may not get 3 points, but they're scoring goals. And from an FPL point of view, that is what matters to us. Mitrovic should be on the score sheet, get the odd assist here and there, and that's what it's all about. Also about Tony, like it might sound like I'm finding ways to criticize Tony, but I'm looking at again the XGC table, and Arsenal is I think top two. They're an elite defense, and I understand the perception about Arsenal is they probably might fall off, and they don't have a great mentality and stuff like that. I don't think it's an easy fixture. I think Arsenal this year with Saliba in that defense, he's been great so far. I think White playing that right back role also helped because he's a bit defensive minded, tucks in that inverted wing back role. I think it's a tough fixture, but let's see. He's in good form. He's in good touch. Maybe the goals come in, but yeah, I'm not very keen on Ivan Toney personally.
Okay. I think that's the forward.
I
Should we
think
move
yeah,
on to
I
the
think
next segment? Yeah.
that's about the forwards comparison. And last but not the least, before we preview our teams for the next game week, let's talk about the multiverse of differential. So this is something that we did in the first couple of episodes to give our viewers the context. The idea is that each of us will pick one player under 10% ownership. Uh, Again, for our sakes, like a mini contest between us, but also, if you're watching this and if you like our idea and if you pick him, I think there's a good chance it comes off and a differential can really shoot you up the ranks. So we'll start with you, Manan. Who is your multiverse of differentials pick for FPL this week?
I think with the way how United are playing, I think, and we have seen Crystal Palace have conceded 20 big chances so far. So I'll go with the Jadon Sancho. I think they are really really good on counters as well, and they'll get a lot of chance to counter Palace in this game. So, and he's almost 6% owned. I'd certainly like Sancho, even for my team, I think I'm considering him as a 1 week, 2 week punt.
That's a great shout. What about you, Anshuman? Who's your pick?
Darwin Núñez, I think, versus Wolves, was rested. Was in the Champions League. I think he starts, and perfect game week to punt on him.
Is he still less than 10% owned? I
Yeah, I think
remember.
he was, as far as I remember, he was less than 10% on. Let me check.
Wow.
But I think,
I
as far as I
really
remember, he was 10% on.
love that pick. I obviously we spoke about Liverpool, but I think if Liverpool were to turn their fortunes, a lot of it will be down to Nunes because the way they are
Yeah,
playing Salah being wide, and he's creating a lot of chances. If
and he's
Nunes
at the
starts
center of everything. Yeah,
yeah, definitely. I
he's
think Nunes.
He's 7.54% on.
That's a great shout. I would. I mean, I had Nunes in mind, but he's already taken. But there's another forward I'm backing to do well this game week, and that forward is playing NFO, Nottingham Forest, and I love picking strikers that play against them. I've got Patrick Bamford as my differential pick for the week. Back in the side after injury, played 45 minutes last game week, coming off the bench, had two big chances, missed both of them, so did not get in the score sheet. But the fact that he's getting those big chances, the fact that Leeds are creating those chances, and the most important thing is the fact that they're playing Nottingham Forest this game week. I think that bodes really well for him. 0.5% ownership. And I'm also looking at bringing him in my team as well. I'm thinking of maybe shipping Kane out, a 1 week punt to Bamford. Hopefully it pays off. And yeah, he is my differential pick for this week.
I mean, I would, as a friend and co-host, I wouldn't recommend you going Bamford. The only reason is that I don't know if he starts. So if he doesn't start, it's like a punt going down the drain. But
Do
again,
you think Joe Gellard will get another start up
yeah,
front?
he looked decent. Again, Bamford, it's not even how good he looked or not. It's basically that is Bamford fit enough? Because he's just come back from another injury. He was injured the last entire season. So again, Marsh has also said that he doesn't want to push Bamford a lot. And I think he will be very wary of that. Even if he comes on, I don't think he plays more than 60 odd minutes. Most probably he won't even start the game. So that is something you need to keep in mind. Again, that being said, a lot of people are still on wildcard. They in the wildcard 8 boat, and they want to punt on various players in terms of midfield, defense, and forward. Do you guys have any midfielders? Probably just out of the differential verse, but in terms of general people who want to wildcard, where do they go for punts? Maybe I think three fixtures that stand out is probably Fulham, Chelsea, Bournemouth, Brighton, and Leeds, Nottingham. You guys have any other players?
I
I think in terms of yeah, Manan, go
I
on.
think Manchester United Palace is also something I'll keep my eye on. But
Yeah, I
other
can go
than
there as well.
but other than that, I don't think there's any other fixture where
But
I'll go. I
I
might
think
go. Yeah,
Harris and Sinistera both are decent options.
yeah,
That is what I
exactly.
would recommend. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I like them. I just prefer. So Rodrigo was playing that role before
Yeah.
Bamford. So, I get the doubts, but I think I'm reasonably confident that he starts. If he gets 60 minutes, I think that is enough uh, to punish not. And if it does not work out, I think I just go straight to Mitrovic in the next game week, who's again next week up against Nottingham Forest. In terms of midfielders, not a lot of them stand out to me, which is one of the reasons why I prefer the 4-3-3 formation, right? So you maybe pick a premium like a KDB or a Salah. I think Rashford is a good pick because we saw what he can do against size, especially on the counter attacks. But yeah, I'm not many sort of stand out to me in terms of differentials, apart from the likes of Martinelli, who's already highly owned.
I think Trossard for me stands out. There is obviously the Graham Potter issue where he could be leaving. Yes, there's a very likely chance that when you're viewing the spot, he might have left for Chelsea. Again, Trossard versus Bournemouth is a genuine shout.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it's
I
a
would
good
agree.
shout. Yeah, the only thing is that I think the next fixture, Brighton fixture, is probably postponed. The one
But that's
against
the point. That's the thing. Nah? These are punts for people who are wildcarding in game week 8. So we don't care about. They're probably going to wildcard in 8. So it has to be only a 1 week punt. That is, I think, Trossard. So the two fixtures that stand out the most is probably Brighton and Leeds to me. Chelsea to a certain extent, and United as well to a certain extent. Because it depends how Crystal basically play on that day. If they can defend deep and if they can maintain their low block, they could give a tough fight to United.
I won't
uh,
personally go to Chelsea. I mean, We
Yeah,
saw their
same, yeah.
performance in Champions League, and they can't defend, they can't attack, and I'm certainly of them. And we'll have to. That's why Game Week 9 wildcard is more appealing, because we'll get to see the new manager for at least a week or so, right? And that's
Yeah.
something to keep an eye on.
Especially
That
considering the fact that they are the only big team with the best run from 9 to 16.
Yeah.
I think a lot of contrasting views here, and it's great, right? It's a difference of opinion and spicy for the viewers as well, and even for us, because if it does not work out, we can just a bit of banter for the future weeks. Again, I think I'm very keen on Chelsea. I rate Potter really highly. I think Fulham is a good fixture, and the best part is that if you get someone like, if you, let's say you don't have a Reece James, or even a Fofana who's a very cheap, I think he's just 4.5 still. So you bring him in, you get Fulham this week. Next game week, yeah, a bit of a dicey fixture, but in the long run, let's say if they haul versus Chelsea and they go up in price 1.2, 0.1 or 0.2 million. So getting the points, you're also sort of ahead of the curve, regardless of whether or not you're playing the wild card immediately. So yeah, I think I'm very keen on Chelsea as well. Brighton, not so much. I get it's a 1 week fun, but what if the scenario changes next week and suddenly you have a player who is not playing the next game? And I think a lot of people have Sanchez in their team as well. A goalkeeper without a fixture. So that makes it very tricky. Another fixture stands out to me: Leicester versus Aston Villa. We've spoken about how Leicester have issues, and Leon Bailey, 4.7 million. Do you guys still have him in your team?
No,
No,
absolutely
no, no.
not. I'm not
Okay,
going
so
there. Hands burned too many times. Not interested.
But I do
I
think
know
he's a good option.
Leicester are
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, Leicester are bad defensively. Even Watkins could be a good option to personally pick if I had to pick out someone. But again, is the fact that Aston Villa haven't shown great signs of attack, and the fact that even Leicester haven't shown great signs of attack. So that fixture, in terms of attacking option, is certainly null and void in my eyes, in my opinion, basically.
Also, the fact that they managed it with Steven Gerrard, right? I mean, he doesn't even know his 11. He constantly changes, and we don't know if Billy starts the next match or not. He should, because he scored a great goal, but we
Yeah.
don't know what will happen what will the lineup be in the next match.
That's fair. I think we've discussed not just differentials for our multiverse contest, but in general we've touched upon some really nice differentials. If you guys are watching this, our viewers, if you have any other interesting shouts, just put them down in the comment section, and we'll be happy to get back to you on that. And finally, last but not the least, we will also preview our teams for the next game week. We'll start with you, Anshuman. What moves are you planning, and who are you captaining next week?
Wait, just my team. So my team is Ramsdale, Trent. I think I have Neko in the team, but Dunk will start. So Ramsdale, Trent, Dunk, Cancelo, James, Gundogan, Grosh, Martinelli, Salah, Jesus, and Haaland. Haaland captain at the moment. I'm not interested in changing it at the moment. So I'm in two minds. If I'm wildcarding in game week 8, that's a decision I have to make. Then probably Gundogan becomes someone else, or I have enough money to upgrade Greenwood to a forward. That could be a move. And otherwise, I'm just going to save this week. And next week, my moves probably are Salah downgrade to a Sun or a Kevin De Bruyne, depending on where I want to punt, and Greenwood to a forward.
That's interesting. What about you, Manan?
So my team reached Sanchez in goal, Trent, Nico Williams, Trippier, Zinchenko in defense, Gundogan, Salah, Martinelli in midfield, and Tony, Jesus, and Haaland as captain. I'm 100% sure I'll go with Haaland. I'm in the Pama Haaland camp. I have one free transfer, and I'm looking to either downgrade Gundogan to a Rashford or Sancho, or upgrade Walker. I have enough to upgrade Walker to a Cancelo, and that is a decision that I'm currently these are the decisions that I'm currently considering. I'll definitely start Nico Williams. I think the fact I don't know if he'll still be on the set pieces, because he didn't take a lot of set pieces in the last game.
No, I think he's not. Morgan Gibbs White is.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something to monitor. And if I do upgrade Walker to Cancel, I'm not looking forward to play Gundogan against Tottenham. So I'll definitely take a punt on that position.
Wow. I, yeah, I mean, so I've got three City players against Tottenham in my team. And for a change, I'm confident about this game because, as everyone has seen in the past, Tottenham are a team that have caused a lot of problems to City. But I think we've got Haaland now, and a player like Haaland gives you that sort of confidence. So yeah, even I am sticking the armband on Haaland. Reasonably happy with my team. I've got Jesus and Kane up front. I've got a midfield three of Luis Diaz, Kevin De Bruyne, and Marcus Rashford. And in defense, I have Reece James, Ruben Diaz, and an Arsenal double up of Gabriel and Saliba with Sanchez as my keeper. In terms of transfers, I might keep Kane, but if I take him out, I fancy a 1 week punt on Bamford, or maybe just get Mitrovic in a week early. So I'm gonna deliberate that. But yeah, I'm very keen for some reason. I just want to get Bamford in for that 1 week. Reasonably sure I might do that. But
Basically, you're
yeah,
hated towards Nottingham Forest. I think
yes,
that line sounds
I
like.
think
that's a
I think I
very
have
big
a
factor.
good nugget for you, Z. I think Chelsea have conceded the most chances from their center, and we know they have been struggling a lot in defense. I think if I was you, I'd definitely get Mitrovic this week and
Yeah,
bring
save a
him in
transfer
early.
if you're going Metroid,
Yeah, I
probably.
mean
Yeah.
you don't need to make a transfer, especially considering you have already played a wild card. So I think
Yeah, I
I'll
agree.
definitely go to directly to Mitrovic.
But another factor is Potter coming in, and whenever new
I mean,
managers come in, they try to
I don't
set
think
it up.
he'll get his
Uh,
philosophy in like 1 or 2 days.
right away, yeah, he's probably a manager
Yeah,
who
I
will take
think
time.
yeah,
We will improve. Obviously, we'll see the significant improvement. Again, Fulham are playing decent. Can't neglect that. It's also a derby. It's technically a London derby, so that's also a factor. So Fulham will
I'm
try to win this.
assuming both of you fancy Chelsea not to keep a clean sheet against Fulham this week. I think
yeah,
No,
that's
but I think
definitely.
the move of the logic behind is basically you save a transfer and instead of going Bamford and then Mitrovic, go Mitrovic this week because he can still score in the same game. He can score against Chelsea. It's not like an outright possibility. It's a genuine possibility. He's on penalties as well. So I think save the transfer there.
right. I think it's very likely I'm going to ignore the advice and still go Bamford. But I think that those are great points, and something for me to ponder over, not just now. And we've spoken highly about Mitrovic throughout the pod. So yes, I think that's pretty much about it. We've covered a lot of hot topics in the community. We've
Yeah.
previewed our teams for the next game week as well. Any last words from you guys before we wrap this up?
Nope. I think this is it. We've wrapped. We've covered most of it. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to comment it down below in the video, and we will respond to it. We are reaching out to as many people as we can. So if you have your team questions, if you want to know if you should wildcard or not, mention your team below, mention your query, and we will respond and get back to you. And also, if you made it to the end, please do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button. Apart from that, I think hope you have a green arrow game week.
Definitely, yes. Same here. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it with your friends if you like the content. And we will be back with another Game Week episode in the future. Until then, take care. Goodbye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Cheers, guys. Bye.